Hey, what's going on, guys? In today's video, I want to talk to you about how I overcame my withdrawals, or should I say overcoming, kind of the emotional conflict that goes along with them and things you can expect physically, emotionally, and mentally going through withdrawals. I want to preface this video by saying I'm not a doctor or medical professional of any kind. I'm just sharing my experience here. So if you're in some kind of distress or very extreme withdrawals, like you were drinking liquor every day for years, please search for medical assistance and contact a doctor. Uh, this video is more for people who have been somewhat casually drinking to not such a dangerous extent. Me, for example, I was drinking approximately 6 tall boys a day for a couple of years with few breaks in between. Um, and my withdrawals, while being manageable, they still came with some intense periods, but nothing medically dangerous, I don't think, as I'm through them now. So just take that with a grain of salt. All right, so to get into this video, something important that I noticed with withdrawals was there's two aspects to them. The first one is your fear of the withdrawals. And this is something that takes a hold of you before you even quit the substance or activity that you're abusing. Um, it kind of starts when you start thinking about quitting right away. I would classify that as the beginning of your withdrawals. So for me, there were several months going by where, I wanted to quit drinking and I kept stopping myself due to this fear. And this fear manifested in so many different ways. Uh, it felt like a sense of emptiness. It felt like almost a breakup was happening, like an emotional breakup. So think of like breaking up with a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. It's kind of like the sense of loss or abandonment. You have the fear of the what ifs. So like, what if I quit and my withdrawals are so severe that I need to be hospitalized? Or, what if I quit and I never in my entire life feel better again? And most importantly, what if I quit and I start drinking again? That's the one my brain used on me a lot to trick me early on. It kept making me feel like it was a losing battle. Like, why would I quit if I'm just going to drink again? Thing is, even if you quit for a few weeks, few days, few months, that sober time is going to be a lot better than if you just continue drinking every day throughout it. So just keep that in mind. Those what ifs are just your brain playing tricks on you. Your logical mind knows that you want to quit, but your subconscious mind knows that this substance or activity you're doing has provided you with some sort of relief over the time you've been using it, and it doesn't want to stop. Realistically, the subconscious mind doesn't want to stop because it knows it works for certain things, and it gets afraid when those things are stopped because it doesn't know right off the bat how it's going to get that relief. Frankly put, that relief is difficult to find because you have to try new things, you have to experiment, you have to ultimately quit to be able to allow your brain to latch on to new activities or new patterns of relaxation, relief, enjoyment, happiness, like everything like that. And not knowing what those are going into it is a very scary experience. It leaves you feeling kind of flat, hopeless, depressed, anxious, basically all the negative emotional things you can think of. It kind of will pull on those strings constantly before you even stop drinking, stop smoking, stop playing video games like crazy, all the way up to harder drugs. So that's the first stage. And my advice for that is sometimes your logical brain, actually not sometimes, probably 99% of the time, your logical brain knows better than your subconscious brain for what you should be doing. Your subconscious tells you to eat a cake. Your logical brain says, no, I shouldn't eat an entire cake. I should have a slice or maybe opt for a healthier option. The thing is, your subconscious brain is tied to your like emotional system, and that is a huge driving force for us addicts. We generally end up believing our emotional pathways more than we do our logical ones. And I think quitting a substance isn't just stopping consuming the substance, it's actually rewiring the way we process things. So instead of processing things emotionally all the time, we have to start introducing more logic and more well thought out plans to move forward. And that brings us to the second step, which is the plan of actually quitting. So when it comes to quitting, everyone does it a bit differently. For me and most others I've talked to, we're always just waiting for the perfect time. And this is a bad way to do it because we could be waiting forever. And for me, what's worked in the past is don't wait for the perfect time or the right time, but quit when you already have a small victory under your belt. As soon as you get a little dash of momentum, for example, say you drink at 5 every day and that day you were busier than usual and it's now 7:30 and you still haven't had a drink. Well, you're 2.5 hours past your usual time. Use that as momentum to say, let's go 2.5 hours more, get to bed sober, and boom, you're done day one. And that's the most crucial time in my experience, is getting through that first day. Especially if you're doing something every day, taking that one day off might seem like the most impossible task ever. But once you get through that first sleep, you kind of wake up the second day proud of yourself. You've built some momentum. You have kind of let yourself know that the days and the time still goes on regardless of whether you drink or not. So choosing not to will allow you to get to day 2, get to day 3, on, and that's eventually just going to stack up. So what that comes down to is all you have to do is focus on today. So getting to bed sober today is the most important mentality you should have. Because that today, tomorrow will also end up being a today. So will the day after. So you just can't get too bogged up thinking about all the days and months and everything ahead of you. You just need to worry about today. That's what I found helped me out a lot in my journey. A bit of background, kind of like what kind of withdrawals I had. Mine were mostly anxiety, digestion, and sleep related. So, during the day, I would convince myself that something worse is happening to me than it actually was. So my heart rate would go up. I'd feel all fidgety and irritable and anxious and flat. The flatness that I felt, which I guess you could attribute to a feeling of boredom or a feeling of loss, that was present a lot. And basically my advice for that is just sit through it and wait. Kind of like a storm passing, the sun is always above the clouds. You have to remember that. Just because the clouds appear doesn't mean it's going to be cloudy forever. You're eventually going to get to another sunny day. And it's hard to believe that in the moment, but it will come. You will have those sunny days. You'll have more cloudy days as well, but you'll eventually realize that you have those even when you're drinking, except your days are cloudy more often. So, if you want to get to a better state where your days are generally better most days, you just have to weather the storm, get through it, and meet the sun on the other side. So the first day or 2 or 3 of not drinking for me kind of felt like I was a kid back in 9th grade sitting in my 9 a.m. math class. Sitting there bored out of my mind. I don't have a phone. I constantly am looking at the clock. When's this class going to be over? I don't have the attention span to or care to listen to the teacher and what they're explaining. I didn't care about math at the time. But guess what? Ninth grade was years ago, and now it's just a memory. So obviously, I got through that at some point, and that is a mentality you should save for yourself for withdrawals, because you will get through them at some point. They will get easier every day. Of course, you'll have days that are harder than others, but in general, your line graph is kind of going downwards. It's getting easier. And yeah, the physical withdrawals, I kind of just started treating them as like having a cold or the flu. They're something where you just tell yourself, I'm sick, I should be better in a week, and I should be taking care of myself. So what do you do when you're sick? You make yourself tea, you rest more, you watch a couple movies here or there. You don't just keep beating yourself up, because when you're sick, it's not your fault. And yes, you can convince yourself that these withdrawals are your fault because you chose to drink and consume, but you could also just accept that just is what it is, and beating up yourself anymore is not gonna, it's not gonna help you get better. So focusing on taking care of yourself, drink a lot of water, make tea, go for walks, listen to music, watch movies, basically anything you like to do that is outside of yourself and not inside of yourself is going to be things that's going to help you keep busy. It's going to keep your mind off things. It's going to help you develop skills. If you end up taking up a new hobby, you're going to get better at something. And yeah, so overall, once again, I appreciate if you stayed here all the way through this rant, but I just kind of wanted to give my insights based on how the sobriety is going. I'm still sober here. I just got back from a walk and it's very hot, so that's why I'm a little red and sweaty. But I just wanted to post a quick video and kind of share my experience on how withdrawals are, both emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And hopefully this can resonate with some of you. And if you want to share your experiences, please do so. I love to read every comment that any one of you leaves me. It gives me a lot of joy sharing my stories and hearing your stories even more so. So I always recommend that you do the same. And I will see you all in the next one.